Hello, and thanks for watching this Danny Tutors video. For more composition tutorials, please follow the link to my website in the description below. As always, please contact me or comment below with any questions or requests for new videos. Let's get started. In this lesson, I'm going to be talking about some of the most common errors I see in students' papers every day. These are run-ons, comma splices, and fragments. This video will only go over how to identify these pesky errors. If you want to see the many ways of correcting them, please tune into my next video. These are the key terms I'll be working with in this lesson. Please review them before we get started. Let's start with the independent clause. Often called a complete sentence, independent clauses can stand on their own because they contain a subject and verb pair. Each sentence must contain one and only one independent clause to be complete. In these examples of independent clauses, I've underlined the subjects and dotted underlined the verbs. Let's move on now to dependent clauses. Dependent clauses do not have a subject and verb pair, so they cannot be used alone. They need to be combined with an independent clause to make a complete sentence. A sentence can contain more than one dependent clause. In these examples, I've underlined the subjects and dotted underlined the verbs so you can see that all the sentences still contain an independent clause. The dependent clauses are in italics, and you'll see that if they are removed, the sentence would still be complete. Once you've got independent and dependent clauses down, learning to identify the most common errors is easy. Starting with run-on sentences, these are just sentences that contain more than one independent clause, which is not okay. Here are some examples of run-on sentences. Try looking for the subject-verb pairs in each one. By doing that, you'll see each sentence here contains two independent clauses, which we don't want in your papers. Comma splices are probably the overall most common error I encounter in tutoring. I think this is because they tend to sound okay when you read them aloud. However, they are still an error, and they most often occur when trying to fix a run-on. Comma splices are very similar to run-ons. They also feature two independent clauses stuck together, but this time with a comma in between them. Just like with run-ons, you'll see here that each of these sentences does contain two independent clauses. However, commas do not correctly separate independent clauses. That's what periods and many other techniques are for. To summarize how to identify run-ons and comma splices, please consult these two rules. Okay, let's move on to fragments, which are essentially the opposite of run-ons. Fragments are phrases that do not contain a subject and verb pair used alone to make a sentence. They are, in fact, dependent clauses wandering alone without an independent clause to support them. How sad! Here are some quick examples of fragmented sentences. You'll notice that if you look for the subject-verb pairs that indicate an independent clause, you won't find them here. Before we wrap up here, I wanted to go over some common misconceptions that I've heard through the years. Have you heard any of these before? Lastly, these are the rules to remember when looking for run-ons, comma splices, and fragments. Learn them well. This has been a lesson on identifying run-ons, comma splices, and fragments. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time. Happy writing!